Today I'm going to narrate this video because beside me there's a school and all you hear is a chatter of kids and I couldn't even think properly. So I'm just going to narrate it. So this hot tub here, the power's off. It's tripping the breaker. That's the reason why I'm there, because the hot tub is tripping the breaker. So here I'm going to turn it on, and when I put it on, it'll trip here in a second here. So here I took the side panel off, and normally it's the panel that's going to be underneath the keypad. So here I'm just want to disconnect the heater element. I took the door off. Sorry I didn't show that video.
Yeah, so
I'm just trying to do this really quickly because of the kids. But here I'm trying to take off the element. So this particular style with the Balboa, it just has the plug-in. So there's a tab underneath, and I had to use the pliers to undo that. So here I'm just going to turn it back on, and if it's the element, then it should stay on. So there it stayed on. So right now it's just going through its programming. So at this point, I already know that it is the heater element. Everything's working. I'm just checking all the pumps, making sure that everything's working because I'm there. So I might as well make sure everything else is working. So at this point, got to change this element here. You got to make sure that the power's off before you do anything. So the power's off. I'm just looking at the knife valves there. I want to see if they close. Normally I never touch them. I always drain it just because they don't fully go down and they leak a lot. That's a failing point, that particular one. Now this one here I got down. I wasn't too comfortable with it. The other side, sorry about the video. The other side I couldn't get down at all. So I just brought the other one back up and I have to drain the whole thing. So when you're ordering a heater element, it's right on the heat tube itself. It's the heater, it's the 4 kilowatt, it's an offset, so it's the Balboa one. It's better to actually take that one out. I will have, in the description, I will have the 4 kilowatt and the 5 kilowatt for this particular one, the Balboa. So at this point, I've already drained the water right out. I'm just going to take out the heat tube now. Now, those two little, there's a bolt, or there's a nut on the top there that I'm trying to get off, and there's one on the bottom. They're both pretty tough to get at. As long as you have the proper tools, it shouldn't be too bad. Now, you just have to loosen them off. You don't have to take it off all the way, but you just loosen them off. So those bolts are loosened enough. So now I'm going to take off the heater unions. Now, if you're looking for a tool like this, is great if you have a pool or a hot tub. It adjusts to almost 4 inches, and it goes down to about 3 inches, well, to about 2 inches. If you're interested in that tool, I'll link it down below in the description. When you're loosening those unions up, there's going to be a lot of water still in there, so don't be shocked in that if you have a lot of water coming out. So I just had to loosen that top nut off again. I can't roll it out. So you just wiggle it out. And if you watch my other videos, I don't unhook the sensors from the circuit board at all. I just pull them off. I just take the heat tube out just like that, and I just undo the sensors just like that. Just gotta make sure when you pull those sensors out that see the O-ring on there, you gotta make sure that's there. Sometimes it gets stuck on the top of the other plastic piece. Right now I'm going to take it all apart and I'm going to put the new element in. Now everything that I do on my videos, there's a reason. So some people say, why don't I use a socket on this? Well, I could feel if that element is twisting at all. I don't want it breaking off, so I can prevent it. I could put like a needle nose underneath or whatever, but there's a reason why I use these wrenches instead of a socket. So if you watch my videos and whatever tools I'm using, just use the same tools I'm doing. Like right now, I can feel it where the element is going to break. because I can't get that bolt off. So it's twisting the element. Now, right now, I could put a little screwdriver underneath to prevent it, but it's fine. And, you know, I didn't want both of them breaking off. So I just grabbed another little wrench so I can grab the element underneath. Now, there's so many different sizes that I can't even tell you what size this is. But I just put the wrench underneath, and it grabs perfectly where it fits right in there. You need like 4 hands, and I can start twisting it off. Just let you know, I'm gonna end up breaking this anyway. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, there it goes. Just broke. Now, if this happens to you, just follow along what I'm going to show you here. Okay, so we got that off. So we're going to use another wrench. I think it's a 19 millimeter. Now on this, you could use a socket, but I have a toolbox there that's just for elements. And it's usually no big deal just to use. I just put one wrench in there, number 19, for all the bolts. So they're all the same for that, for the element. So we got that one bolt, or the one nut, ready to come off, and you should be able just to push it down. Sometimes it's a little tough, so you just use a screwdriver. Here, I'm just going to find a screwdriver here. Somewhere. At some point. Yeah, I just push it down. And over to the side, or it's going to hit that, where the sensor goes in. And you should be able to pull it right out. You kind of twist it to the side. Yeah, I'm going to have to bang it out. There you go. Now the piece where the sensor goes in, it's been leaking, so I'm going to have to take that off. And I'm going to put some silicone and then put it back on. Or you can make a gasket for it. But usually the gasket that's on there, it's pretty good. So I just put it back. Now, when you're screwing this fitting back on, you got to remember that you're trying to screw in plastic into stainless steel. So you got to line it up perfectly so you don't wreck the threads on the plastic piece. So we got that all done. Now it's the element. All the stuff you need for your element should be in that bag. So don't use any of the old stuff. Just use the stuff that's in the bag. The trick here that I'm going to show you with the gaskets, I put a little bit of silicone on there just so when you put it on the element, it doesn't fall off at all. Now, some elements that when you put the gasket on, they're tight, so nothing falls off. So I just got in the habit of always putting a little bit of silicone on the O-rings. So when I put them on the element, it's not going to shift at all. They're not going to pinch when I put the element in. It's got to make sure that they sit flush, and when you put it in, it's not going to come off a bit or twist, or just so they don't pinch at all. For this part here, I do have better videos on my channel showing how to put this in properly. Now, there's a couple little tricks to it. You don't want that element touching at all on the inside of that heat tube. So here, when I put it in, you just got to make sure that those gaskets are flush. So I'm just going to use all the parts that came in the bag. So here I'm just tightening it up. Now, I have had people on here leave comments about tension and poundage, and it's not a car. So as long as it's on there pretty snug, if you go too far. So if it's tight, it's really, snug. That's the only word I could use is snug. So make sure that element, when it's snug, both of those bolts are snug, that element's not touching the sides at all. Now the trick for that is you put your hand in, and there is another video for that, so you might want to check that out. I would suggest to take some pictures. When you start taking stuff apart, just take a bunch of pictures just so you know where all the wires go. It's no big deal to take pictures on your phone, and you can always go back step by step. Like these wires are already twisted one way, so I don't want to put in the wrong way and then twist them the opposite way. It's a little harder to do. See here, I put it on wrong. So I'm gonna have to, I think I put it on wrong here. Oh yeah, I put it on wrong. So I'm gonna end up twisting it around the other side. See, I just realized now, oh shit. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to twist it the other way. That's why you take pictures. Now time to tighten everything all up. Here I'm just using a little wrench to hold the bottom of the new element. So when I tighten the top, it's not going to twist and crack anything. It's like an epoxy, so you don't want anything to crack. If that twists and cracks, there's a possibility that it might trip the breaker again. And again, that nut that's on there, it's snug. And once you get everything all together, I'm going to show you how to put it all back together. Now, if you can, those end gaskets for the heat tube, if you can replace those, replace them. For these here, I should have replaced them, but I didn't have any on me. First thing I'm doing here is I'm just putting the sensors all back together and just screwing it. So when you screw these on, just make sure it's hand tight. When you put the heat tube back in, sometimes they're really tough to put back in. You just got to take your time. Once you get the heat tube in, make sure that you at least screw in the top screw so it holds everything down, and then do the bottom one. So it's got to sit there straight up and down and right back in. It can't sit out. So when you tighten these unions, make sure the same thing, it's snug. You can always give it a tweak once you get it filled and started, and if it's a drip at all, you can give it a little tweak to tighten that up. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe the video if it helped you out.